Welcome everybody, and here we're taking a look back at a great series that we've done over the course of quite a bit of time. And I want to talk to you about our journey through Citizens in Space before we go through to what I suspect will be the final Let's Play episode. There will be more episodes of Citizens of Space, though this will be the final step in a journey towards completing the game's story. With that, I want to give a shout out to those who have definitely helped us along the way, and we're going to be looking at that in just a moment. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Miguel Escobedo. I hope I got your name right. Now, Miguel has been a consistent commenter and subscriber to the Citizens of Space Let's Play, more so than anyone else. I also want to give a shout out to Almond Joy and Green Baby Kitten 2, who have certainly enjoyed and commented as well. And I think that anyone else who's watched this, then I want to give a shout out to you, because Citizens of Space is quite a great game. And here we're going to be going through each of our episodes and just doing some of the highlights. And so, we're going to go ahead and start with episode 1. Episode 1 is where I first started the Let's Play Citizens of Space. And it was a short episode. Here we're going to introduce to the ambassador, and I'm gonna let this play for just a little bit.
Oh, smell that sweet interplanetary diplomacy.
Oh, look at his face. It just appears to be stapled. And here you can see where I am getting some of the intro feels, I'm going to call them, out of the way. And so with that, I just want to let you know I came having played Citizens of Earth, and I expected much of the same, and really it was much of the same, but in a much better polished format. The characters I felt were more relatable, more likable, and more interwoven throughout the story. And so you see, we were originally told to go to the embassy, and so here's someone that you'll probably think is familiar. It is the manager of Tropicool. Of course, we've been to Tropicool, we know a little bit more. But this is one thing that I'm talking about, things being interwoven. So let's, of course, go to episode 2, where we find out Earth is missing. Now, here, the Assembly, who takes us very seriously throughout the game and basically just wants to get rid of us, is wondering why they chose to admit a planet that doesn't have a planet. So, we'll find out that Earth is missing now, and we're introduced to a lovely character, the Judge. The Judge will be a character we can recruit later on to pass some laws, and I think there was some bugginess towards the end of my playthrough where the Judge would only enact a single law, but it was a great character, just yelling everything, "This is the way it's going to be, or I will have you arrested," and just a great character. Here we meet another character, and just an interesting recruitment quest for her. We just had to listen to so much unique lines of dialogue. The translator would make reoccurring appearances, and so I think that this is an example of how it's greatly interwoven. You'd find her throughout the world, but she'd also come in and comment on situations, and since she is a character that I think is great at her voice acting, great at her personality, it really comes across. So here we're just going through a few of the quests, and then we go and meet the confectionery. Just a unique personality there. Still finding things out, and the start of a recruitment quest that would go much further than it seems initially, and that's something that's really common in this game. So once again, great characters. Oh, and here's my favorite voice actor. I don't know who voice acts this. I should have probably looked that up. But here is the pizza bot. So I'm going to let the pizza bot play. We'll just set it back to normal speed.
How?
I'm none other than the Ambassador of Earth!
Ah, no kidding. Earth?
You know it?
Know it? I love it. The
Still
home of
makes
the
me
Hawaiian
laugh.
pizza, right?
Right! No,
Okay, and so this is just an example of really great characters. Now these characters are tropes. There's no doubt about it. They are tropes. They're not fully fleshed out, with few exceptions, but their tropes are personable, and there is this compromise of fleshing them out mixed with their incredibly tropey behavior that makes each of these characters quite frankly awesome. So let's move on to episode 3, Recruit the Teacher. Now this of course was not an recruitment guide video. This episode was introduced as a way to get the game to progress. And little did I know that there would be recruitment videos that nobody else was doing that I wanted to do. Now there are a few more that I want to do. I don't have the time to do them. And Citizens of Space has really been quite interesting because right now it's been a little bit of a hard time in my life. And I'm not going to say that this game got me through it, but it made it far more tolerable to have this humorous game in my life than not. So I think we are going to focus more on other games once this is completed, but I do want to go back and do recruitment videos. Those are much more complex to... and here's the zooming feature. You know, I got stuck on those stairs on one thing I had to re-record just by zooming, and I think that they fixed that. But I do want to go back and do some of those recruitment videos. I've been requested to do the barista, and the problem with recruitment videos is that at this point, because I don't have all the time in the world, going back through the footage, recreating it, creating new original footage where I'm not able to piece everything together in a coherent way, it takes a lot more time than a simple Let's Play. I've done a tutorial video of Deck of Ashes, and you'll find that on the channel content. And with that, I wanted to let you know that they take a lot of work. They do. It takes longer to put together a 10-minute tutorial video, and a recruitment guide is not really a tutorial video, but it kind of is. A 10-minute tutorial video than an hour and a half of Let's Play. Even though I do edit the Let's Plays, I know I leave a lot of battles in, and these later ones that I haven't had a lot of time have been having less editing. These are actually quite edited. There's a lot of things that occur in these games you just don't see, and my goal as an editor is to seamlessly edit some of these things out. Of course, they don't always happen, as Green Baby Kitten 2 found out in a recent one where we fight the viruses, and not the computer viruses, but the viruses on the collector's homeworld. There's this sound that should have been edited out that wasn't. There's a lot more of this that goes on behind the scenes than I think a lot of people realize, and it takes a lot more time than a lot of people realize, but I think that it's turned out really good. If you're wondering why I do so much, there were some episodes that were on the channel featuring different software that hadn't been edited out. I've since removed those from the channel. They're nothing to do with Citizens of Space. They were really terrible videos. When you start YouTubing, you don't believe your videos are that terrible until you get farther and farther along, continue to learn new tips and tricks. Inversely, there are times where you spend too much time editing, then you don't produce anything. Now we're going to take a small break, and Miguel wanted me to go through some fan art, and I think that we can do that right now. This is fan art that added, and I'm going to include some of the links below. These are just some good pieces here. I love the meteorologist. Things that I chose ahead of time. End of time cop. Okay, and you can see there is a definite enjoyment of the park ranger. Everyone has their favorite citizens that they connect to. Park ranger is really awesome, really adorable, has a great story in how to recruit the park ranger, and so I really applaud the park ranger and anyone who likes them, and I applaud those who, you know, establish this game more with artwork, with videos, with commentary, because this is really how a company can get great feedback to continue making this. So Sega produces it, Eden made it, and there are a few bits of marketing that go on, or content that go on, and there wasn't a ton of marketing that went on. They own the property, so everyone they sold the property to became aware of this. And then there's what's called earned content. Earned content is when creators like myself, like Miguel, like even the commenters, like Almond Joy and Green Baby Kitten 2, who come on and really sell the stuff for the creators of the product, and they sell it through their creations, through their enjoyment, and it's completely free to the publisher, to the developer, and it shows that this type of game can earn that advertisement. So if you're wanting to help not just me, but if you're wanting to help Eden and Sega out into making I hope, Citizens of Time, they've kind of hinted at it, then maybe share anything Citizens of Space worthy. And if you want to help me with earned content, then share, subscribe, hit the bell notification, get it out to your friends that you enjoy this, and hopefully they will too. There's a few other games that'll come up. So really, we're going to see whether players were here for Citizens of Space, because I'm really the only one at the time of recording who's going to complete a playlist of this, and whether or not they're here for similar games in general. I really hope that everyone who got the enjoyment of Citizens of Space got everything that they wanted out of it. I know that the recruitment guides are the only thing that I regret not making enough, but I will say that with current time constraints, they are what they are, and I don't know if I would necessarily change it. I think maybe I would have changed who I did recruitment videos of, like the composer, but surprisingly a lot of people search for how to recruit the composer, so there's definitely that. Alright, let's go on to the next video, and this is our Citizens of Space episode 4. This is where we feature the Ink Redux. And with the Ink Redux, they were the first set of enemies, and really, I think, a set of themed enemies that you don't see too much in the other places. Take the moon. The moon is kind of a mishmash of moon themed enemies, kind of. But the Ink Redux were unified more than just their theme, and it wasn't dependent on the world around them. They had an identity to them, and they're really, really great. You're going to see a lot of the Ink Redux as we go on. Just these low-class gang units mixed with the heavier bruisers. And we're going to go straight to the... We're going to go straight here. And we're going to just hear a snippet from their boss, because this is very much a recurring character in the game.
There's still one more duck for us to...
Oh, let's go ahead and set it back to normal.
pluck.
Oh yeah? You think I'm gonna go down easy, huh? Well, I ain't. Time to learn what happens when you fool with McCool.
He is not who I was expecting. And I stand by that comment. With that, we really got a different character than I expected for him. He's really a trope of Days Gone By. From the movie Grease, from the movie Crybaby. I really think that he is someone that... Oh, there we go. I'm commentating on the gameplay as I'm watching it. He is someone that developed differently than I expected, just because he was based on things that really haven't been in style since long before me. But I can't see him any other way now. So we're going to go ahead and go on to the next episode. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about editing. Now, those of you who have watched me try to summon or play with some of the characters, you know that I'm terrible at rhythm. Because I ain't got the rhythm. No, I ain't got rhythm. But trying to talk and trying to memorize things as well during this minigame, this Simon Says minigame, was quite interesting. I was commented how many times did I mess this game up with, and it's more than I care to admit on this video. I did say at the time, but it was several. And you see that editing a little bit. There's a bit more editing that went on, but yeah, I cut it out because watching me fail over and over and over again might be amusing for some, but I didn't think that it would be amusing for most. Here we have the composer. I think of that one Pixar movie with the imaginary friend all the time because he sounds so much like him and he looks a lot like him. He's really a great character. Let's go ahead and go on to the next episode. And here we've gotten the spaceship we've journeyed about. Captain has done the clamper a fair dozen times, and we see the Time Cop. The Time Cop's been in and around of characters quite a bit, and this is an example of them making sure to flesh out the characters. I mean, everything's optional. Everything's optional as far as most of these characters are going. For the Time Cop, everything's optional with him. But you talk to him, and oh, there's the archaeologist. One of the last characters I actually recruited. You talk to him, and you find out more about his character. And these characters will offer you quests that have nothing to do with their recruitment. The archaeologist on Charfrost did that. So, in this Exploring the Galaxy, we went to every planet we could, and here we go to, quite frankly, an engineering joke, which is the restaurant right next to a dump. And it is funny, we run into the hacker, we run into the chef, we'll run into the pizza bot on Charfrost. We really went everywhere that we were not supposed to get a lot of this out of the way. Because of that, we got some of the recruits a little bit earlier. This is an example of how we can recruit someone out of the preferred order, and you'll see that or you have seen probably, that I've already done quite a bit of things out of order. There's a rule in video games I feel very strongly about, and it's a rule that is a mainstay of RPGs and JRPGs, but surprisingly, it's sprinkled in there in other genres, but not always. In other types of games, it's not well looked upon. And the rule is that if the game is telling you to go one way, but there's another way available, go that other way first. Now, in episode 45, that kind of played against me, kind of for me, as I was able to do some of the required stuff on the planet. But in the usual spot, you'll get more available to you, more exploratory, and then when you're ready to tackle the main story, things will be easier for you. And so, it's really an example here of a JRPG rule or an RPG rule that isn't always found in others. So we had a great fun with episode 6. It's one of my most popular episodes, and I encourage you, if you like what you've seen so far, go back and watch that. Now, we have episode 7, Went to the Moon for Pizza. Of course, we do our pizza deliveries here. PizzaBot was a very early recruit, and you can see here I got him. I believe he was my first summon recruit. And here we get to meet some of our favorite characters. We're dealing with the robot banditos here. It's just fun. I'm just going on. I love this little translator joke. So right now, translator's very optional. And you have this little scene that is just enhanced further because you have a character with you. Is it important to the plot? No. Is it important to the gameplay? No. Is it important to really the characters that you meet here? Yes, very much so. We talk about various things in books. It's most commonly done in long TV series. It's most commonly done in shorter media. It's often avoided, is that you take a character and you tell us a bunch of stuff about the character that doesn't seem to matter, but then you start realizing why characters make certain decisions, why they do things, why they are. And you may find something not important, but it really is. So I wanted to give this as an example of a book. There's an author known as Brandon Sanderson, and you can find some of his videos online where he teaches, and he talks about a scene in The Wheel of Time. And The Wheel of Time is a very large book series that he ended up finishing because the author, Robert Jordan, unfortunately passed away before he could complete it, and Brandon Sanderson was brought in based on what I understand, good relationships and good writing skill to finish it up. And the author, Brandon Sanderson, talks about when he was going through the books that one of the most popular scenes was very, very useless. There's this character named Perrin, I believe. I'm hoping I'm getting this right. I'm recording this rather late. And he's a blacksmith. He is not flamboyant like his friend Matt Coffin. He's not central to the main plots for a lot of the games like Randall Thor. But with that, the Wheel of Time series would be very, very different without him. And one of the most popular little snippets of the books, as Brandon Sanderson was describing this, was where Perrin was just hammering and blacksmithing, really just as an aside. And it was steady, it was very defining for his character, but in every other way it was meaningless. Why was it so important then? Because it connected us, the reader, to the character of Perrin. And you see that a lot in this game as well. So I'm going to skip a couple of episodes here, just to keep things manageable. So here we have Rescue the Astronomer on the Moon. Oh! I do not like the game show host. I do not like the game show host's abilities. I like the game show host's voice actor, but I do not like that the game show host will interrupt your gameplay to take you away without your say-so. I do not like that he continues to do so after you recruit the game show host. This is an example of how a game that is really great, really lovable, can have something that somebody doesn't like, and I'm not saying that everybody should like the game show host or should dislike the game show host. Really, it's up to you. There's so many characters in here that it would be hard. Oh, there's another one of our edits. And I go away from that particular transition to what's known as a dissolve transition to make things more seamless. But anyways, it's an example of how I don't like something in a game, but I still love the game. And it's okay to have something in a game, in a book series, in a person that you don't like, that you can't stand, and still think that that entity as a whole is great. So really great job including a character I dislike so vehemently, just to prove that example for this. And I know that there's going to be people who love the game show host, who love the games at the end, who love the aspects of gambling your experience away, your money away, to try to get more or different items and such, who liked the playback to the older game show hosts. And there's probably characters that you don't like. I know that, or I do know that I've gotten some dislike of some of the things that I've done, and that's okay. People still keep coming back, watching more. And there are some things that my playstyle is different, as Miguel indicated on one of the chats. He had struggled on the boss for the President of Earth when he had his toupee fight us. And really I used the Angler. And that is an important example that Miguel pointed out, is that really we all do have our different playstyles, our different likes and dislikes. So here, let me give you an example of... Here's the Astronomer. I think the Astronomer is a character I really liked early on, but she was in so many scenes, and she was so heavily into her trope of... she was a mix of tropes. It was great. One of the mix is that she was a super smart scientist. Another was that she was a redneck recluse. They didn't do the old too much, unless it was for kind of one-liner. But she was in quite a bit because she was such an early mandatory recruit. And it was great. But I do wish they would have included other citizens. So let's keep going. We're going to just go through a couple more. We have Boss Cog and the Sheriff. The Sheriff is one of my favorite characters, and I used the Sheriff for a very long time. Here's the range of a Ranger. This is one that we actually got out. Let's see. We used the Hot Cocoa. We got the Ranger. Ranger's a temporary recruit you get on Charfrost until you complete a quest. And this is another one where they do a great job. They'll give you a character to get accustomed to, and then when you leave, they leave. And you're like, I liked that character, and I do like the Park Ranger. Park Ranger is a favorite on this channel. I end up not using the Park Ranger a lot because I do feel gameplay-wise the Park Ranger is inferior to a few of the other characters on there. But to be fair, the battle characters are a bit unbalanced in some respects. And you'll notice here we have the Sasquatch guide. I spent forever thinking that the Sasquatch was on, and really it's the Yeti that is on Charfrost, but I thought the Sasquatch character and the Yeti were one and the same, and it's not. And I got a request to find out how to recruit the Yeti. I went to the community on this, and they told me how, and I got this back to the person. They were able to get it. But I can tell you, it is not on Charfrost. Do not look for the Yeti on Charfrost. Do not look for the Sasquatch on Charfrost. you will spend 2 hours trying to look for it, recording an episode in hopes that you find it, and realizing you can't use any of your footage because it's all worthless, looking for the Sasquatch on Charfrost. Do not do it. Okay. Rant over. So Park Ranger saves the children. There was another YouTuber that was running this and had some trouble on getting the Park Ranger as a permanent character, and you see that when you leave here, the Park Ranger stays behind. And really, we wanted to go back. We got the chef here. The chef is, gameplay-wise, my least favorite battle character. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I might be wrong. One of my favorite characters. Oh, this is not French, it is Russian. And it is a poor Russian accent. So, to any real Russians out there, I truly apologize, because I cannot do accents. I am not a voice actor. But it is a fun character to have. In fact, we want to do our little discussion with him.
I need you to help me, not devour a graceful creature.
Help you? But shouldn't the chef be the one making the food?
Oui, I shall create the dish. You shall sample. But as my taste tester, it is your job to decide what you want to eat.
I'm not sure you know how taste testing works.
Are you up to the task?
Sure.
Très bien. Come, let us begin. Don't be such a scaredy snail. Come take a look. Now, what flavor does your palate desire?
What flavor does your palate desire? Yes, I loved the chef as a character, and I still do. Battle-wise, I hate the style behind the chef. I dislike it profusely. And, which is odd, we see the athlete here, and I comment this on the 45th episode where we really try to highlight a lot of the characters that we use. And with that being said, I do want to say this is an example where a character can have something you love and hate, and you still want more of them. I wanted more chef in the scenes. I wanted the chef to be a bigger part of it, just like the pizza bot was. There are so many characters in this that it wasn't likely. In fact, as we're skipping through episodes, it's like a great series. If you haven't checked out the series Suikoden, then I would encourage you to do so. Suikoden isn't available on the PS4. It was a PlayStation series, and you can get a few of the Suikodens on other platforms, but the PlayStation 4 hasn't made that available. I don't know if it'll be PlayStation 5 available. There's rumors that the PlayStation 5 is going to be fully backwards compatible to some of the systems, and maybe if they do it to 3, they'll bring the PlayStation 3's library back. But Suikoden had what is known as the 108 Stars of Destiny. Oh, to those people who know these characters, here's a little tribute. Okay, so Suikoden, the 108 Stars of Destiny, was very much like this game, but on a much, much, much grander scale. You would have battle characters, you would have characters who would just support, just live in your village, and just do certain things. So it was very, I would say that, while Citizens of Space was a direct sequel to Citizens of Earth, the citizen style of both Citizens of Earth and Citizens of Space was, if not an intentional spiritual successor to the Suikoden series, it was definitely something that evoked the feeling of that. Oh, I hate things like this. And I'm saying I hate a lot more than I thought I would in a video that was supposed to be a tribute to such a great game. And that's an interesting aspect, is that you have a game that you love, you hate, and if I didn't like this game, I wouldn't hate it, these parts. I would simply have probably just put it down. There are games out there that I've started and I haven't done because there's been low viewership and I love. But there are games out there that I thought this would be a really, really good Let's Play. Oh, no, this is garbage. Done. We're not going to talk about those. I haven't actually made any Let's Plays about those. The Let's Plays on my series all have very good features about them, if not features that I totally love. But if I hated the game, not only would we have not gone this far, I would have become frustrated and said, we're done. We don't need this. So Citizens of Space is a great game, and there are always going to be things that you hate about great games, even masterpieces, and you say you hate them, and then you realize, no, I don't really hate them. I just didn't like that moment. So let's go ahead. I've kind of lost my train of thought with that little tangent, and we're going to go to this. This is really in preparation for the Emperor Pengrill. Emperor Pengrill, and which is interesting, the ambassador of this place, and quite frankly, I'm surprised he was still ambassador after the stunts he pulled. Great character, showing that you can have humor, you can have recurring characters, and showing that the ambassador of Earth, let's go back to the ambassador of Earth, is a character who ultimately wishes to ambass. And what I mean by ambass, he wants to settle things the political way, the bureaucratic way, the diplomatic way, and he thinks that everything should. The banker, as we use the banker here, wants to solve everything with investments, and you know, if you hit them with enough money, problems go away, even if you're Invincible Starman. Oh, and the level ups and the talents. So really, the Ambassador of Earth is central to this game. And we're gonna keep going. We have the Xenomite Queen, a tribute to pop culture. Our first introduction to the President of Earth and his bodyguards, where we start to suspect him immediately. And this is a great example of how artists will draw characters who are clearly made to be dislikable. No, I'm going to go back there and pause it. So we have this angry grimace. We're not going to talk about where their inspiration may or may not have come from, but as a character, we have this angry grimace, the small beady eyes pinched right up against a red nose. And the red nose is actually indicative of characters who are often disliked if it's small and if the features are all drawn together. The forehead itself is very large to where the eyes are. The grimace, the set of triple chins, everything is made to indicate this character really shouldn't be liked, isn't liked. Now what's interesting is from the head down, the character kind of seems like the bodyguards. It would not be anything significant. So everything is in the face. We're not going to talk about the toupee because the toupee is a significant part of a later episode. And it is meant to stand out because it's interwoven. But just look at the face, even the ears. Everything's so tight in the upper part of the face. Everything's so large and exaggerated underneath that, except for these two little chins. Really set to do some accenting. We have glimmer, we have shine. So artistry did their great work with that. Again, I'm going to leave the President of Earth at that, and not talk anything further. And we're just going to go on. The Doctor, we passed the Doctor, the Time Cop, those were great side recruits. Here we got a trick. Now this trick is my fault. I made assumptions based on moving heavy objects. I thought, oh, the symbol on the heavy objects kind of looks like this. I'm gonna come here and hopefully get this. And then more and more I became convinced of a truth that just wasn't true. So I tricked myself, and a game that can allow you to trick yourself is really, really, really great. Let's keep moving on. The Electrician, I wish they would have done more with. I never really felt connected to the Electrician. Boom. Oh, I did like the enemies though here. The hacker. Liked the hacker, hated the hacking scenes. And then we have an example of us going somewhere we really shouldn't have. Here is the treetops of Earth. And they were implanted on Arbora Prime. And so the trees intermingled. I wasn't supposed to come here yet. I was supposed to go to Tropicool. I was supposed to get equipment on Tropicool. I was supposed to get characters on Tropicool. But I went to Arbora Prime because I'm me, and I went the other way. So it was much harder getting through this, and then finally the enemies in the last part of Arbora Prime were just defeating me, and you didn't see a lot of that because I didn't give up until the boss fight, which I never recorded my failed boss fights against him. I was determined to do it, and finally I'm like, you know what? Let's go back and do what we were supposed to do. And so this is a great example. So now that we worked so hard to do Arbora Prime, we were over-leveled for Tropicool. We had great characters that were available that could just go through Tropicool. We got the equipment. Tropicool was pretty easy in comparison. I think that was the first time where we discovered that one-hit kills worked on bosses in this game. That the word may is used very loosely in this game. And then we came back, and even without the one-hit wonder, we were able to come back and completely defeat the Arbora Prime boss. And with that, I say this because when you go the other way and come back and it's too hard, so you go the right way, you often find that the work that you put in definitely paid off. So right now, just going on, we have our pop star. Oh my gosh, I cannot even tell you how many times I failed with the pop star. Oh, and I love doing the thumbnails for this game. The thumbnails, you've probably noticed, with the exception of 44, which I really just didn't have time, and I had to debate, do I put off releasing this all for a thumbnail? I may go back and update the thumbnail. But I take fun little snippets of my videos and insert them right under the Citizens of Space in a circular pattern that fits so well into that game. So with that being said, if you have appreciated my thumbnails, please let me know. I mean, a lot more work goes into them than you would think. On my Fire Emblem, I haven't gotten my Golden Deer thumbnails just right. Citizens of Space really worked out. There was available material plus my own material that I could do. If you go through my channel and look at my thumbnails, I think right now to see the thumbnails of my playlist on Golden Deer has gotten so far into it that you won't be able to just see it by looking. Really though, if you go into it and click the playlist, you can see a transformation of thumbnails where I keep trying something. I'm still not happy, but I think I may have gotten it with this episode 24. Maybe not 25. I think I may come back from 25. But let me know what you think of the artwork behind that. I'm really proud of when I can create a great thumbnail, and the thumbnails for Citizens of Space has just been a blast. So here we're on Tropicool. As I mentioned, we came back to Tropicool. The Tropicool manager has ensured we get ambushed, and then we go and fight him, and it turns out he's not the boss of Tropicool. So we face one set of enemies, then one boss, and we get to fight the next boss. Now here, like we said before, we find out something, that an enemy that may take other people a long time to get past really goes down. And I use the one-hit wonder from the Angler quite a bit because I'm in this for the story. Gameplay-wise, Citizens of Space is fun, but there are better games out there for it. But the story, the characters, the humor, the fun, it really is the game for me. And you may be excited for the last episode, which isn't released yet. You may be like, oh, come on, really? You may hate me for that. And if you do, if I leave a sour taste in your mouth for the last episode, I apologize. A final boss should exist for certain reasons. But really, it's the story that has driven me here. If you would like to try playing this game, or if you've already played this game, I encourage you to go through it again. Go through it on your own. Try new characters. Try to defeat things with different combinations. You may appreciate it, you may not, but really, each of us play our games for different reasons. And it's been a long time since I played a game just for the gameplay reasons alone. Usually there's a lot more that come into it, because at the end of the day, JRPG or an RPG is really as good as its story, as good as its characters, as good as its interactions. It gets a little bit looser with adventure and action games, a lot looser with strategy games. I love a good strategy game. Recently picked up Planetfall, Age of Wonders Planetfall. I had Age of Wonders 3. I suppose that's a game I play mostly for the gameplay. But I can tell you, I don't enjoy them as much as I enjoyed this game for its story. So here, let's go ahead and skip a few more. We've gone through so many weeks worth of work. And there's still quite a bit more to go through. So I don't want this video to be too long. Okay. So Night of the Living Grey was an interesting episode. It wasn't very long. And I want to talk about it because we go to the bunker. And here is our first glimpse, I feel, at who our true enemy is. So with that, if you fight these characters, they look very, very similar to the enemies that we fought in episode 45. And there's a reason for that. We were to be replaced. Apparently the corporate dimension didn't know what color is. Maybe they're colorblind, and then they have people on this side to fill things in, like the bright orange hair of the Time Cop, the green outfit of Neo, I mean the hacker. And props if you named your hacker Neo, by the way. And then, really, with this first glimpse, it is further cemented by this little scene. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause it so that I can play it at normal speed.
Is interfering with my readings. Use that computer and try to establish a manual link.
Okay, we fight one more battle. We destroy them. Oh my goodness, it's dial-up. It's dial-up. Yes, I love that it's dial-up. Oh, if you don't know what dial-up is, look it up. I'm referencing
Wireless
myself.
internet connection. Dial up? How old is this thing?
There's nothing I can do. You're just going to have to hold them off while the connection is established.
Okay, so enemies during battle. Oh, and the clown, the most requested character
All
to have
right,
a recruitment
I've
guide
logged
on.
on.
Wait, do you see what's leaking out of those clones?
There's no time.
Nope, he's right. I think that's the piece of Earth.
Analysis confirmed. They're pumped full of Earth's atmosphere. I'll suck it up with you.
Until next time, another piece of the
Thank you
puzzle.
for choosing Galactico. If you'd like to upgrade your teleportation service package, it's only 4 easy payments of $14.99.
Oh dear, but... And so, that at first glance, it means nothing, but it's great foreshadowing for what's to come. And it really affirms... Oops. It really affirms a few things. So here we are, traveling the world, or traveling the galaxy. Let's see, was this kind of a filler episode? And I did a few filler episodes. We did more with the clones. Came back here. This is where we got the geneticist. who, by the way, was much harder to get than it should have been because I was relying on quest markers. We're coming up towards the end, and there are a few more things that I want to talk about. Let's see. Oh, the hacking. I cringed. Here's Galactico headquarters. Things are really more firmly set into place, and Galactico headquarters, I thought we were closer to the end than I realized, and I didn't want us to be. And so the selfish part of me that said, I want this to keep going, broke up the headquarters scene really into more episodes than it should have been. You can tell I didn't keep that pace because of episode 45 being at least, and I'm guessing YouTube's going to shave or add a second onto here, but when I posted it, it read 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. Great time, by the way. And my longest episode to date. I almost made the entire scene into one episode, but instead I kind of split it up to really allow us to appreciate the finale in a way that wasn't going to be so very, very, very long, and without me having to cut out lots. So this is an example of a choice that I maybe... I don't regret it so much, but I don't think that I would do this every time. And the reason I did it was for the wrong reason, just to, you know, artificially inflate the series, because I didn't want it to end, and I thought it was going to end once we returned to Earth. Okay, then we have our wonderful boss fight, and this is really where... Oh, we have our boss fight over here. This is really where the end of the one-hit wonders occurred, and that I decided, along with things that feedback I've been getting from multiple sources, to try not to break the game. I mean, if you destroy someone in one hit, I did end up doing it on the toupee. I don't really... Oh, there's my little advertisement to try to get people to watch Let's Plays I want them to. Didn't work. People don't watch my Marvel games, and that's fine. So here, we broke up the house into what I think are reasonable bits. We broke it up into going to Earth. This is an example of breaking up an episode and doing it well. And to be honest, I probably should have broken up for episode 45 into what would have been 45 into 2 parts, into 3 or 4. That's okay. So here we face off against the president and his toupee, and here I use the angler. And I was thinking about whether or not I should go back and re-record it without using the angler's one-hit wonder. But it turns out the toupee cannot be defeated in one hit. That its health is really in segments. Once you reach that segment, damage stops. And as someone put, I don't have who, and I so apologize. I've been trying to reference material, so I've been going. As someone put, it seems that this boss was designed to combat one-hit wondering. And I think that is great. I do agree that that is great. Because if you fought this guy, and I did fight his clone with very little trouble, but if you fought this guy and you didn't one-hit wonder him, it's not noticeable, these segments. So this was put in exactly for people like me who wanted to just move on with the story, and it adds a little bit of flavor. So yes, bravo to the developers, as was said in that comment that I do apologize. You know, let's actually take a look. Oh, I'm going to give my own video a thumbs up. Yay! Alright. Was it Green Baby Kitten 2? Okay. Nope, it was Almond Joy. So, congratulations to Almond Joy for really an astounding part. It is a great tool that the developers use to add flavor to battles to every type of playstyle. So, it's something they didn't have to do I believe that it was probably done on purpose. There's a chance it wasn't, but either way, bravo to them. So moving on, we, of course, go back to the factory. There's really nothing too interesting here. Oh, no, no, no. There was so much that went wrong with this episode, and I ended up walking away for about a week, and it's an example of how these series can cause frustration in the editing process, in the audio process. In fact, parts of me were thinking, I hope that this episode doesn't have an audio, or audio issues, because there's no way that I'm going to just restart this tribute to the Citizens of Space Let's Play series. This comment, though, I wanted to fight it using all of my best characters except for the Angler. So, of course, I fight it with the banker, and the banker says, "You are repossessed because I own you." And we have an appearance of the President of Earth. We go and do our traditional talk to all of the characters. I'm not thinking a lot of people like when I go and talk to all the characters because there's a large drop-off on viewership there. If you like that, then let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And so we have our episode 45. And oh, go ahead and rewind it. It started at 1 minute or 1 hour 11 minutes 11 seconds, and then it shaved off a second, just like I thought that it would. So here we go. We have really a great episode, one of my favorite episodes that I've done. We go through, we fight everything fairly, we're doing pretty well. I really didn't like the atmosphere, which was intentional, so bravo to the developers to do this. And then I rename the enemy here, which is great. The Galactico Core becomes the Galactichump. Now on this, I know that the audio was off on this episode, and I didn't realize it until after it was posted, so it's not going to change, and I do apologize for that, but I suspect, because I haven't edited it yet, but I suspect we shouldn't have any issues, fingers crossed, knock on wood, with our last episode. So if you have sat through this, my little tribute with just me talking about Citizens of Space, I want to say thank you. Here we're watching the boss fight in high speed. Love the pop star, by the way. I'm still using the Angler because the Angler is such a good tank. I'm still using the Time Cop because the Time Cop and the pop star work well together. The Angler speed when using certain things works great together. This is really a dream team for physical damage. Elemental damage, of course, you want your Astronomer, you want your Park Ranger. Multiple enemies, then the Exterminator becomes great. So just an example of all of these great characters. And I just want to extend once again a thank you to everyone who's gone with me through this journey, who's going to watch this series as a journey. I'm going to add this to the playlist just to make sure everybody who's seen it watches it before the actual episode 46 releases, if you want to. If you didn't, then you're not hearing me at this point, so, well, I still wish you the best, even if you can't hear me. Consider liking it, giving a thumbs up, commenting and questioning below, and sharing with those who might appreciate it as well. I'm Ndonosci. As always, have fun.